Clay's homepage has a different problem than the last few SaaS sites I reviewed. It is not visually messy, it is not packed with obvious clutter. The problem here is more subtle. Clay is compressing too much promise into the first message, and when that happens, the page can sound smart without becoming instantly clear. I ran Clay's homepage through my tool FirstFix, which is built to spot the single highest impact conversion problem first. Here is what it flagged. The homepage presents a high density of information and actions, which may overwhelm visitors. That is directionally true, but I think the more useful way to say it is this. Clay is asking visitors to absorb too much meaning too fast. When you land on the homepage, the first thing you see is the headline, "Go to market with unique data and the ability to act on it." That sounds strong, it sounds valuable, it sounds important, but it is also pretty abstract. What exactly is unique data in this context? What does the ability to act on it actually mean? What kind of product is this? Is it a data platform, a sales tool, an AI workflow tool, a prospecting engine, a research product, a GTM operating system? The page does not answer that fast enough. Then the subheadline adds more conceptual weight. Bring AI agents, enrichment, and intent data together and turn insights into relevant, timely action. Again, that sounds impressive. But now the visitor has to process even more layered ideas, AI agents, enrichment, intent data, insights, relevant action, timely action. None of those terms are meaningless. They all mean something, but stacked together this early, they create work for the visitor. And that is where the conversion problem starts, because most people do not land on a homepage ready to decode strategy language. They are scanning, they are trying to figure out what bucket the product belongs in. They want a fast mental model. What is this? Who is it for? Why should I care? What do I do next? Clay does some things really well here. The design is clean. The hero is focused. There is one main call to action: start building for free. That part is actually strong. So this is not really a CTA overload problem. It is not the same issue as a homepage with 5 competing buttons and a crowded hero. This is more of a message compression problem. The page is trying to communicate a lot of value before the product feels concrete. And when that happens, visitors may understand that the product is powerful, but still not understand it quickly enough. Because clarity is not just about whether the words are technically accurate. It is about whether the meaning lands fast enough to create momentum. If the visitor has to pause and translate the message into plain English, momentum drops. And once momentum drops, conversions usually drop with it. This happens a lot with sophisticated SaaS products, especially products that sit across categories. Clay is not just one simple thing. It touches data, workflows, AI, go-to-market execution, enrichment, and automation. So the temptation is to compress all of that into the opening message to show the full power right away. But homepage messaging usually gets weaker when it tries to carry too much conceptual weight in the first few seconds, because the visitor does not need the full map immediately. They need the front door. That is what I would change here. I would make the opening message more concrete, less strategic sounding, more operational. Instead of leading with a broad promise about unique data and the ability to act on it, I would make the product picture click faster. Something closer to this. Find better prospects, enrich them with real-time data, and use AI to take action faster. Now the visitor has a clearer frame. Now the product starts to feel more tangible. Now the abstract value has somewhere to land. That is the real fix here. Not making the product seem smaller, making the first message easier to grab. Because once the visitor understands the product in simple terms, then the bigger promise works better. Then the AI agent's point makes sense. Then the intent data point makes sense. Then the broader GTM story starts to build. But right now, the sequence is slightly off. The page leads with the compressed promise before giving the visitor a simple handle on the product itself. And that is why this matters beyond just one site. A lot of SaaS companies think clarity means sounding smart in fewer words, but that is not always true. Sometimes fewer words are actually harder. Sometimes a short headline carries so much abstraction that it slows people down. And when that happens, the page can look polished while still leaking conversions. This is exactly why I built FirstFix. Most sites do not need a full redesign. They need the first fix that removes the biggest conversion leak. If you want to see what that change might be on your own site, go to firstfix.dev, paste your URL, and it will show you the single highest impact fix to test first. Because most of the time, the problem is not that your product lacks value. It is that your homepage is making people work too hard to understand that value. And the best sites do the opposite. They make the value click fast.